everyone, welcome back to number 8 in the series of James Bond review. This is episode 8, film 8, Live and Let Die from 1973. Roger Moore's first appearance as Bond. He is actually 46 years old, so he is actually 5 years older than when Sean Connery left, but he definitely doesn't look that old. Also, Q isn't in this Bond film. Pretty unsure why he isn't, but anyway, there you go. Now, James Bond film, this film feels a lot kind of like a Dr. No kind of film, but a 70s twist, which is quite good. Of course, it gives the film a fresh kind of look, and of course Sean Connery's first film was Dr. No, so it does fit in quite well with the transition of the Bonds. That magnetic watch and also that saw watch, that's probably one of the highlights of the Bond gadgets in the film. So the main villain of this film is not yet revealed. At the moment, Dr. Kananga, who is played by Yahat Koto, is in disguise as just a typical kind of big henchman, and we do not yet know who he is. Although we are given this film's Bond girl, Solitaire, which is played by Jane Seymour. Solitaire is basically just paid by the henchmen to do what they want. And she's basically a trained fortune teller, which is quite interesting. That's Tee, who is actually, I think, like 6'7". He was actually quite tall, and he's played by Julius W. Harris. Yeah, he's a pretty scary, intimidating Bond villain, to be honest with you. I mean, definitely up there with intimidating, Bond villains. He's quite a good actor. I mean, honestly, this part of the film, it does feel kind of slow. I mean, just a lot of this film, it's like 40 minutes of this film is just kind of like shots inside this one room, which can drag on a bit. But no, it's quite a good film, and it's still, it flows through well. You never really get bored. So this is, of course, Kananga without his disguise on, and he's getting suspected of Solitaire because, of course, she's interacting with James Bond a lot. So, just typical. Yeah, I mean, there's no really imagination in this film, which I like, to be fair. I like the straight up Bond film. It's not like No Time to Die when you've got all that stuff going on about him dying, etc, etc. We'll come to that film review. Anyway, James Bond glides down on, what was the island called again? San Mohe? I have no idea what the island was called, I can't pronounce it. So Solitaire basically played herself. She kept trying not to be interested in James Bond, but in the end they simply were. As the card said, lovers. Those are quite cool, those Solitaire cards. I definitely should get a pack. So now we get into the action scenes of the film, which is typical, very bad driving. And that looks like the plane from Octopussy, so talk about foreshadowing. Anyway, James Bond has to take this, her name is Rosie, that glider woman, but she doesn't actually, of course, it's just James Bond, he steals the plane and he goes everywhere. It's a very good action sequence, though, to be fair, and I think it works very, very well. So then there's a pretty creepy funeral guy here who murdered the agent at the start of the film. And yet again, James Bond gets taken to the room. However, this time, he does actually get to see Kananga with his own eyes. So it's quite a good method of getting to do what he wants, I suppose. Also, the main premise of this film is Kananga, the villain, the main henchman of the film. He's trying to he's got all the world's heroin in his private island. He's the dictator of the island. He's got all the heroin in the world in that island, and he's going to sell it all for free until people get addicted to it. And then he's going to charge people loads and loads of money for it. I mean, honestly, this is probably the most realistic Bond film. I mean, stuff like that probably happens every day. So it's nothing, out of the ordinary. However, of course, James Bond then gets sort of detonator type things, explosive, and he blows up all the heroin, which we'll see in a minute. Again, this part of the film, it does drag on a bit. I mean, there's not a lot happening. I mean, it's okay, but there's not a lot happening. And then we get into the climax of the film, which is on the speedboat, which is really, really good, top quality stuff. And I really do enjoy this scene. There's no music in the background, which is kind of odd. but no, it does work really, really well, and it's great filming, great stuntmen, just overall very, very great Bond stuff, which they really should still do in modern day Bond films. Yeah, and that Sheriff Pepper, J.W. Pepper, played by Clifton James, he's a pretty annoying character. I mean, he's just your typical kind of, he says he's from Louisiana, he may as well be from sort of like Alabama. He's a very typical kind of, I mean, Republican American sort of person that would vote for Donald Trump. He's yeah, just a lot can be said about his character, but luckily he's only in 2 films, so yeah, sure we do get rid of him. I mean, he could be your thing if you find him funny, if you find sort of classic American policeman funny, but I don't think he's very funny. So then the climax of this film, there you are, the climax of this film is this part which is actually, I mean, the climax feels kind of underwhelming, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not bad, but it just feels like, you know, the rest of the film good rather than a proper climax. It is pretty underwhelming. I mean, the part where he throws him into the pool of snakes is kind of cool, but like, I don't know, I feel like there could just be improvement to this film. I feel like there's area of improvement for the climax. I mean, overall the film is pretty good. I would rate it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. I do like Live and Let Die, but it's just like, there's so many little things that if they got them right, it would really be the perfect Bond film and transition from Roger Moore, Sean Connery's Bond to Roger Moore's Bond. So despite all his heroin getting blown up, Kananga is still very, very happy. I mean, he reminds me of that guy from View to a Kill, which again we'll get later, who's just kind of like a psychopath who just kind of likes killing people, I suppose. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure if all his heroin just being destroyed, he'd be annoyed that he's just there smiling away. Yeah, he's in his own world. So that pretty much wraps up the review. I mean, Kananga does not get killed by a shark. James Bond gives him the exploding bullet, puts it in his mouth, makes him swallow it, so that he gets blown up. And yeah, it's a pretty good climax of the film. I quite like his death. Some people don't like it. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, when he gets blown up, and the footage freezes here. I'm not quite sure why. My recording ain't quite work, but it freezes. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching that video, guys. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.